Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who's a cynic, and I'm sorry that I'm going to have a short video out today on something that some of you probably will not find very interesting, but I've been having to deal with summer camp, and I have work at night as well, and so my schedule has been absolutely hectic, and it's been really sad because I've had to miss some live streams of some of my favorite channels, but I did want to get a video out to you guys, and also I did want to make a comment on this because Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers mentioned saying that in his last live stream where he mentioned that this film will probably lose $150 million. And I just don't see how anyone could come up with that number because the minimum, and this is something that I've gone over in my previous video, the minimum amount of money that Solo can lose at this point is $180 million. The reason why is because we know that this film cost roughly around $500 million to make when you add in production costs, marketing, all those other things. So around $500 million is a pretty good estimate. It could be more, it could be less. We don't really know. But here's the big thing. The studio, Disney, Lucasfilm, will only see 60% of the box office take. So right now, this movie is at $313 million, and that's when you add the domestic and foreign. And let's just look at these numbers first. So when we look at the domestic, it is very rare that a huge, big-budget production, especially a Star Wars film, will have a higher percentage of the box office take from the domestic market than from the foreign market. So what this tells us is that it's not doing well overseas, and when we actually break down the numbers, what we see is that it's actually tanking overseas. The numbers are just becoming smaller and smaller every single day. I mean, it only made $15 million domestically this past weekend, and that means that it made probably $10 million or so at the foreign market when you do the math on that, and that is just horrid. That is just awful. And that's the third week now that it's been out, and it just is not going to be picking up any steam because this week we've got Jurassic World coming out. We've got just so many films that are going to be coming out over the next couple weeks. So no one is going to see this film. No one is going to be giving money to it. So right now we're at $313 million worldwide. And as I said in previous videos, I would say that the minimum that this film will likely make is around 350, maybe the max would be 400 million. I don't think it's going to make it to 400 million, but that would absolutely at this point be the max. The max used to be $500 million, or rather the max used to be over $500 million, but that's just not attainable at this point, especially when it's bleeding money. It's not making anything overseas. It's not making anything here, and big movies are about to come out. There's just no way that this film is going to be able to survive that. So that's something that we all have to take into consideration when doing the numbers, when breaking down the math, that there's nothing there. There's just nothing to say that this film is going to break even or make any money, because again, if it costs $500 million and if this film tops out at 350, maybe 400 million max, then and you take into account that the studio only gets 60% of that take in the end, well, let's just do some math real quick. So 400. So let's say you get about 60%. So that's over 50%. So let's say we give them maybe 230. That'd be probably a pretty fair a fair giving of them of the box office. So that means that they would only get $230 million out of that $400 million. And keep this in mind too, the film cost around $500 million. So just do $500 million minus $230 million, and then you see that this film again is going to lose just a crap ton of money. It is not going to make any money. It's going to lose so much money in the long run in the end, and it just does not look good. So it's definitely going to lose over $150 million for sure, and that is awful. Again, I think this film by the end of its run is going to lose around $200 million, if not more than that, and that is just awful. If people like Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson and the people who are responsible for this are not taken out of power, I don't see how in the world Star Wars could possibly survive after, even with Episode 9, because Episode 9 is going to make more. There's just no doubt about that. It's going to make more money than this film, but to say that it's going to break even or make a huge profit, that is now in question, because when you again break down the numbers, $700 million less than The Force Awakens. That's what The Last Jedi had. Now we have this film, which is not even going to make it to $500 million, barely going to make it to $400 million, and there's just no way that Episode 9 is going to be able to pull that back up unless they make some major changes at the top, major changes in creative, and I just don't see them doing that, at least now. Of course, there's a lot of rumors that Kathleen Kennedy has been fired. There's a lot of rumors that she's quote-unquote stepped down. But again, those really haven't come to fruition yet. I thought that we would have heard something last week, and we haven't. So things are probably going to be kept under wraps for a while. A lot of people say now that she'll probably it'll probably be announced in the fall whether or not that will happen or not, and it very well could. But again, we have not been hearing anything. All we've been hearing is just total nonsense from Rian Johnson, from now Pablo Hidalgo is back at it again too, and just everything. They've been attacking the fans. They've been calling everyone who's critical of his film, everyone that's critical of these characters, all kinds of names: racist, sexist, man babies. I mean, you just name it. They've just been doing nothing but name calling, and it's funny how they talk about toxic environments, and yet they are the ones that are being toxic. They are the ones that are actually creating the toxic environment that's going to lead to so many Star Wars fans leaving. And again, don't get me wrong, there are toxic people on every single side. In fact, I hate that word because I feel like it has just been so overused. It's similar to racism and sexism. People use it so much that it begins to lose its meaning, so that when you actually have someone who is racist, is sexist, and you throw the name out there, it doesn't have as much of a stick. It doesn't have as much meaning behind it, because if you're going to call anyone who disagrees, anyone who has any of these opinions, that's a big problem. And when you have people, again, like one of the writers, Jonathan Kasdan, when John Kasdan is the one that's calling out people, why would people go support your film? Why are people, and you have now Rian Johnson doing the same thing. Well, Rian Johnson, you are wanting to have your own trilogy. Who is going to see it? Again, no one is going to see your film if you're going to keep attacking the fans. It just does not make sense. So I really hope that they figure things out really soon, because I'm really starting to get worried now, because it's this kind of number that worries me. Because if you're going to hit rock bottom with this kind of movie, if you're going to hit rock bottom with this, with the fans, I mean, it's going to be very hard to recover that. And again, I am admitting full out now that I do believe Episode 9 is going to make more than this. But if they, again, think that they're going to be able to make a huge profit off of it, they might not even break $1 billion. I think that film might actually reach Justice League levels, where it only tops out at 670 total for the entire run, both foreign and domestic, unless they make some major changes. So I don't know if they're going to do that. Again, there's been no real evidence of that. There's been a lot of rumor and speculation, which, again, I think is true. But I like to live in reality. I like to live with facts and figures, and right now we're just not getting that. So I just wanted to have that out there, and also I just want to give an update on the Solo box office, because things are not looking good at all. These are going way below my own expectations, but it's still within the range that I originally gave out in my previous videos, where I talked about and broke down how much money this can make, what's the minimum, what's the maximum, and also how much money this will lose by the end of its run. So thank you very much, guys, for listening. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you like it, also give me a subscribe as well. Please leave me some comments down below as well. I love having conversations with you guys. If you have any constructive criticism, I would also appreciate that as well. But do please try and keep it constructive, because I do love having conversations regardless of what it's about. Again, I'm a huge movie nerd. Again, obviously I know I made a lot of Star Wars videos, but that's really what's popular right now in the news, and it's also a passion of mine because I do love Star Wars a lot. So that's one of the many reasons why I've been watching it. So thank you very much, guys, for watching. Have a great day, and as always, God bless.